Chess is one of the most renowned board games of all time, and yet most people only know about the boring regular version. That's right! Big Chess doesn't want you to know this, but the starting arrangements for the game are actually completely customizable. Unfortunately, due to a strike by the strategy manual writers, the Chess Industrial Complex started a mass propaganda campaign to standardize the board. Now, you might think that having the same starting conditions makes you develop logical thinking or long-term strategizing. But I'm a YouTuber, and thus have no need for such things. So today, we'll be going over the strategies that Big Chess doesn't want you to know about. So the first strategy we'll be going over is the Nomadic Tribe Gambit, in which all of our pieces will be replaced by knights. This will allow us to easily crush the decadent royal court of the traditional chess setup, by overwhelming them with our mobile, fast-moving armies. However, I'm sure you can see the problem. It's clear that after a couple of turns of conquering our opponents, our horse tribes will be assimilated into their culture, thus turning our pieces to their side, which means that if we want to win, we must checkmate their king quickly. In response to the effectiveness of this strategy, several Chinese scholars invented the Great Wall Counter Gambit, in which you place a series of rooks in front of all your other pieces to defend against the opponent's knights. This strategy was considered mostly too niche for wide-scale use, but gained significant popularity in 2016, when it was used as a way of preventing your opponent's pawns from entering your territory. If you prefer long-term strategizing, you can instead try the British Gambit. Here we'll take advantage of another feature that Big Chess doesn't want you to know about. You see, chess is actually an MMORTS, so in this strategy, instead of attacking our opponents directly, we'll send our pieces towards other boards in order to establish outposts and trade routes. We'll then use our extensive network in order to create a complicated balance of power, where if our opponent attempts to expand their influence on the board, an international coalition will form against them to maintain balance. That way, while our opponent is bogged down attempting to carefully maneuver their way through the board without causing a commotion, we will be able to gradually strangle their supply lines through a naval blockade, making them unable to move their pieces and granting us an easy victory. Of course, this strategy can backfire, resulting in the American dilemma, where instead of actually using our pieces to fight our opponents, we just send them to fight on some useless chessboard on the other side of the room. In the 20th century, several French chess scholars developed the first forms of chess speedrunning, resulting in the Pétain Gambit. Here, the strategy revolves around immediately sending the pawn in front of your king forward to get captured, and then moving your king forward in such a way as to get immediately checkmated. Speaking of time, as you'll know, chess is typically played with a timer, where you lose when the time runs out. The original version is similar, however with one key difference. Instead of losing the match, when the clock runs out, all of your non-royal pieces turn to pawns and start a communist revolution, capturing your king and queen and establishing a communist state. Afterwards, you can attempt to spread the revolution to your opponent's side by capturing their royalty. Unfortunately, after a couple of turns, one of your revolutionary pawns crowns himself king, and purges half of your pieces for being revisionist traitors.